Love you, brother. Be careful. I will.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're passionate about bold filmmaking, genre-defying cinema, and stories that hit you on both an emotional and intellectual level, you're in the right place. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss more in-depth reviews like this one. Now let's dive into one of 2025's most provocative films, Ryan Coogler's Sinners. Ryan Coogler, best known for Fruitvale Station, Creed, and Black Panther, returns with what may be his most genre-bending and deeply personal work yet. Sinners is a challenging, stylish, and richly layered exploration of trauma, faith, race, and identity, filtered through the lens of a supernatural crime drama with musical overtones. It's a lot, and yet it works, often brilliantly. The film is set in the Mississippi Delta and tells the story of twin brothers named Smoke and Stack, both played by Michael B. Jordan, who are returning home from Chicago with bloodied hands and a stolen fortune in their pockets. Their purpose? Open a bar for black patrons in their hometown for one day in a place untouched by white control. But, of course, things are not going as planned. The second major narrative arc follows Sammy, a preacher's son who's forsaken the good book for a guitar. He's an emerging musical talent whose very soul seems tethered to the blues, a genre Coogler treats not just as music, but as a spiritual inheritance, a cultural lifeline that predates and defies oppression.
Oh, we heard tale of a party.
If that sounds like a lot, it is. On the surface, Sinners plays like an Afrocentric remix of From Dusk Till Dawn, with dashes of Stephen King's Salem's Lot, Robert Rodriguez's The Faculty, and Southern Gothic folklore. Coogler has openly cited these as influences in interviews, and they're clearly present. But expecting a straightforward horror flick with explosive vampire action would be missing the point. Yes, there are vampires, and yes, there's bloodshed. But the film operates in a much different register. It's allegorical, lyrical, and deeply preoccupied with identity, culture, and history. And what Coogler has really crafted here is an insanely stylish, blues-infused, color-rich film with phenomenal sound design, a cinephile's dream. The cinematography is gorgeously grimy, drenched in neon and moonlight, with rich, expressive colors that pulse with energy. Visually, it's intoxicating.
Will somebody take me in your eyes?
Let's talk sound. Ludwig Göransson's score is nothing short of revelatory. This is one of the best soundtracks of the year, possibly of the decade. Göransson weaves together Delta blues, country folk, and distorted gospel with chilling precision. There's one scene in particular, a musical sequence in a juke joint, that might be the most electrifying moment in Coogler's career. You can feel the ancestors dancing, and here's where the film becomes more than a movie. Music in Sinners isn't just atmosphere, it's narrative. It's spirituality, it's protest, it's memory. Coogler uses music to chart the Black American soul, a soul forged in slavery, carried through cotton fields, and electrified in church pews and juke joints. This is not a backdrop, it's the heart of the film.
Your way out. Don't cry. He's all better now.
Yes, I lied to you.
The vampires in Sinners aren't just monsters. They're metaphors, white supremacy with fangs. They want the music, the soul, the identity of Black America. Coogler doesn't shy away from the metaphor. These creatures literally try to steal the blues. There's one striking image, Irish vampires performing a distorted river dance in the middle of a field. It sounds absurd. On screen, it's terrifying. It's appropriation turned demonic, and Coogler knows it. He plays with cultural theft, commodification, and racial trauma in ways that are visceral and unforgettable. The film operates in what you might call mythic realism, where ghosts are real, curses are inherited, and music is both a weapon and a sanctuary. Michael B. Jordan's dual performance as Smoke and Stack is a career best. He plays both with subtle differences. Smoke is rawer, more violent. Stack is philosophical, wounded. Together they form a tragic composite of Black masculinity, one shaped by war, burdened by memory, and always on the edge of destruction or transformation. Delroy Lindo brings gravity and gravitas to every frame he's in. He's electric, as the elder who's seen too much and buried even more. Jack O'Connell is unexpectedly magnetic as a vampire with twisted charisma, and Hailee Steinfeld plays a childhood friend stuck between the past and the present. Her presence understated, but resonant. Newcomer Miles Caton delivers a standout performance as Sammy, infusing the character with authenticity and emotional depth. Even the supporting cast is deeply textured, with standout turns from a Chinese immigrant family and a group of Native American characters who represent fleeting moments of solidarity in a segregated world. These characters aren't tokens. They're fragments of a larger, shared American narrative, and Coogler treats them with respect.
You twins? Nah, we cousins.
Let's not mince words. Ryan Coogler is the defining African-American filmmaker of his generation, and Sinners is him at his most intellectually ambitious. If Black Panther was a utopian fantasy about what could be, Sinners is a realist parable about what actually is, and why. This is Coogler examining the Black messianic mythos with the full weight of history on his back. He weaves Christian imagery, blues mythology, historical trauma, and magical realism into a dense, sometimes overwhelming tapestry. Nominally, it's a horror drama. Functionally, it's a genre-blending meditation on blackness itself. What does it mean to own your soul when the world keeps trying to buy it? Can you survive the American dream without becoming a monster? And what does salvation look like when the church itself demands silence?
I ain't got no money.
Y'all scoot on out the street. Put some pressure on them.
The film's structure is unwieldy. It juggles multiple arcs, myths, and symbols. Some viewers may find it convoluted or even frustrating, but that density is intentional. Sinners is a puzzle box, not a paint-by-numbers story. You can trace genre tropes across its surface: lynch mobs, tragic brothers, cursed towns, mythical cities of black freedom. There are obvious winks to From Dusk Till Dawn, especially during the bar invasion scene, and subtle nods to Tarantino and Spike Lee. But these are not mere homages. Coogler is reprogramming these ideas, reframing them through a uniquely Afrocentric lens. Chicago, seen here as the beating heart of white capitalist America, is not salvation. It's just another predator. And the dream of a black utopia fades like cigarette smoke by dawn.
We gonna kill every last one of you.
Sinners dares to suggest that African America is not just a culture, but a cosmos. One with its own logic, its own mythology, its own language of pain and beauty. This isn't a sermon or a declaration. It's a statement of being. The film is filled with cultural codes: hoodoo, ancestor worship, jazz improvisation, call and response storytelling. It's not always meant to be understood in the traditional sense. It's meant to be felt. Even the villainy in the film reflects this ethos. The first person to bring danger into the black community? A light-skinned outsider. It's not colorism. It's not satire. It's a meditation on authenticity, on who gets to claim the culture and who only consumes it.
Stay. It's you?
Of course it's me. Open the door.
That ain't your brother.
In Sinners, Ryan Coogler once again proves himself a filmmaker unafraid to wrestle with the most enduring traumas of Black American identity. At first glance, his new film may appear to traffic in familiar metaphors: African Americans as the prey of white vampires, a young black musician whose very sound is threatened with appropriation, and the suggestion that losing one's freedom, literally, through vampiric transformation, comes with a cost to the soul. These motifs are unmistakable. And yet, to reduce Sinners to a straightforward allegory of racial oppression would be to miss the deeper architecture of Coogler's vision. Indeed, while racism is undeniably present, it serves more as a point of entry into a broader, more unsettling meditation on ideological supremacy. The vampires in Sinners are not driven by hatred or vengeance. Rather, they function as cold agents of replication. Their goal is not to destroy, but to convert. To assimilate others into a worldview that flattens individuality and extinguishes complexity. In one of the film's more chilling ironies, the first to be turned are white Americans themselves. Vampirism in this rendering becomes less about bloodlust and more about dogma, about seducing others into relinquishing self-awareness in favor of collective certainty. It's telling that those transformed into vampires do not lose their identities entirely. Instead, they become less nuanced, less conflicted. They retain their personalities, but no longer suffer, reflect, or doubt. Coogler frames this emotional anesthetizing as a deeper horror than death itself. In this light, the vampire's aversion to sunlight is symbolic rather than supernatural. Daylight becomes a metaphor for truth, for the kind of illumination that ideology fears most. It is the dreamless sleep of reason, to borrow a phrase from Goya, and Sinners treats it not as a momentary affliction, but as a permanent condition of the modern world. Equally important is what Coogler refuses to promise. There is no grand, triumphant battle to rid the world of vampires. Resistance is possible, even noble, but victory is out of reach. Evil ideas like the undead are tenacious. They persist through time, surviving in whispers and bloodlines, in institutions and cultural memory. This cyclical inevitability becomes explicit in the film's final moments, a stark reminder that so long as there are those willing to carry a flame, no matter how small, the darkness will find shelter. In the end, Sinners is not a message film in the conventional sense. It doesn't offer easy catharsis or hopeful resolutions. Instead, Coogler challenges us to abandon illusions about the world we inhabit. Rather than preach, he observes, with empathy, yes, but also with disillusionment. He asks us not to be idealists, but realists, and in doing so, he honors not just the pain of the past, but the complexity of the present.
Hey, what the hell's cornbread?
Riley building you a new outhouse.
And that brings us to the finale. Without spoiling it, the final act of Sinners is a revelation, both narratively and emotionally. It's soulful, devastating, and oddly uplifting. Coogler finally says out loud what's been bubbling under the surface for 2 hours. Sinners is a movie about freedom. It's not a freedom offered by America. It's a freedom fought for in blood, cried out in churches, and screamed through guitar strings in smoky clubs. It's a freedom not granted, but claimed.
Yo, smell anything? I think I shot myself.
Is Sinners perfect? Number, it's overstuffed. It leans heavily on allegory. There's so much Ryan Coogler here, it can feel like an auteur's journal-made celluloid. There's some messianic energy, sure, but that's part of the appeal. This is a movie where Irish vampires, shootouts with the Ku Klux Klan, and mystical cowboy hats all coexist. And somehow, it still feels cohesive. Because every strange ingredient serves a bigger idea. That black suffering and black joy, black faith and black rage, black survival and black artistry are not opposites. They're entangled.
Pick poor Robin clean. Pick poor Robin.
If you're a fan of stylized cinema, films that blend genre with historical and social commentary, or stories that feel genuinely alive, Sinners is absolutely worth your time. It's not horror in the conventional sense, but it haunts you long after the credits roll. And let's be real, cinephiles are going to eat this up. The lighting, the music, the dual performance by Jordan, the jaw-dropping juke joint scene, and that Ludwig Göransson score, it's heaven for film lovers. And blues fans, you're going to feel like you've just been baptized. Sinners is a rebellious, spiritually charged, and artistically fearless work from one of the most important filmmakers of our time. It may not be for everyone, but for those it's for. It's unforgettable. Rating, 8 out of 10.
Goddamn beautiful voice.
Even through these walls.
What did you think of Sinners? Were you as blown away by the visuals and the themes as I was? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We've got more reviews like this coming soon. And trust me, you don't want to miss them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.